So, hi.
Hi.
Okay, how are you today?
I'm doing okay. Yourself?
Oh, wonderful, thank you. So, who are we going to be reading today?
Belle.
So, would you like to ask a specific question, such as, just briefly, Belle, who Belle is, and what you
Okay.
want to know, and you can ask some questions as we go on. I'll answer questions, and she may have extra things to say. Belle is a husky, by the way.
Yes. There she is. I received her from a friend not long ago, and we've had a connection since I saw her, and I thought she'd be really well to be my service dog because I had a lot of back and neck and fibromyalgia issues, and also I was trying to train her to be a scent dog for my work, finding missing people. And so far, she seems to be doing really well. I guess one of the big things I'm having a problem with her is chasing the cats. I think is one of the big questions I have. Is I'm not sure what else I can do. I have a few ideas, but to get her to not chase them, so that they can be all out together.
Belle finds it really hard not to do that. She kind of smiled when you talked about chasing the cats, and I immediately heard her say, "Yes, I try very hard to work with you, and I'm really pleased that I'm making progress. We're making progress together. But when the cats move, something comes over me." And I'm chasing them before I know it. It relates to past lives when I was living in the wild in the snowy north, and we were not stopped from chasing. I'm seeing something like a stoat or a marten, pine marten, little animals, rabbits. We were allowed to hunt. And also I've had lives as a wolf, but something comes over me, and I don't know what I'm doing. What I feel is you might have to treat this with flower essences. There's a company called Real Bark, which is now, as far as I know, making the most potent bark range of flower essences. And there is an essence called Cherry Plum, which is when you know something's wrong, but you can't stop yourself from doing it.
Okay.
So I don't know if I sent you the link for Real Bark essences, but these would be the ones. It's only $6.95 plus, I suppose, shipping. But that would be your easiest way, because she can then, with this vibrational medicine in her energy field, working on her aura, she will actually be able to remember that she's not supposed to chase the cat. So what's happening now is there's no gap between her seeing the cat and chasing the cat. You could say automatic or automated. It's an automatic response. This remedy will stop the automatic reaction and give her that space to remember that she really doesn't want to chase the cat. It's not from desire to do wrong or desire to chase the cat. It's simply that she's got strong programming to chase small animals, and it's overriding what you would call the prefrontal cortex, the will. We have the same thing as animals, but people are always, me included, just going into reaction at times and losing that control. So
that's what she's trying to do right now.
Is that her? Is that Belle?
Yeah, she's the cat's underneath the cow, and she's in the crate, and she's trying to. I think that her thing is she really wants to play with them, but she plays too rough. And it's mostly Onyx, not Magic. She really doesn't, do this with as much as she does him, and I think he kind of entices her too. But
yeah, she definitely does. There's a perennial problem between cats and dogs. Their body language is so different that they miscommunicate a lot. That's what they say, cats and dogs fight, because their body language is kind of opposite in so many ways that they're on this kind of parity, so they don't read each other easily all the time. But this can be solved. I say cherry plum, the real bark flower essence sprayed into Belle's aura will cure the problem pretty fast, because when she wants to run at the cat, she'll remember your displeasure before it happens. And with that, I think she'll get control.
Yeah, because I've tried that fear aggression kind, and it kind of works. It makes her kind of stop, not outside the crate, but inside the crate. It makes her calm down, trying to get them. But it's still not, I can't let her out with it still.
No, you have to be very sure of your dog. When you get a big dog like that, which has still got a very strong hunting instinct, you have to get to the place where you have no doubts about the dog, and then if nothing else interferes and the dog is not upset, it can probably be trusted even when you're not there. But when they're like us, when they're stressed, training tends to go out the window sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you have another question?
About her nose and her helping me with my work. Is she getting the hang of that on this trip that I'm going to be taking to find this missing person? Is she going to kind of know what I want or what I'm needing out of her?
She's working a great deal out of telepathy and also sight. Like all dogs, she's got psychic abilities, and she sees energy. And I always remember being told, like the Aborigines in Australia, how they could track somebody that had passed that way 3 weeks previously by being able to read the broken stems of glass and the placement of twigs. This is a very heightened sense that to us, modern day Americans, is like a psychic sense, where in fact it's just super strong observation. And then Native Americans too, the trackers, they had the same thing. I had that as a child because of my Native American life. She does work on that. With these things like tracking, although people have bred bloodhounds and other scent hounds because of their understanding that animals work off smell a lot more strongly than humans do. Smells are much stronger to an animal. What they haven't always been taking account of is the increased psychic ability of animals, where there's actually more than one way they can track. Where bloodhounds probably are strongly using smell because they're even bred with these furrows of skin folds that run from the mouth up to the nose and channel the molecules of scent into the nasal passageways, and so their sense of smell is incredibly strong. There's probably been less understanding of the psychic sense of animals. You can use a dog as a tracker dog, but it's not a scent hound. And then what she's saying is scent is only one of many abilities I will use to help you in this work. The real success of us working together comes from us being very harmonized and working as a unit together. Then I can pick up so many clues and signals from you and know exactly what you're wanting. But she is just as likely to see what happened in a place and follow a trail using psychic power as she is using actual scent. It doesn't matter, but, she's the animal you've got to work with you on finding missing people. And that's because she's the animal you're meant to have.
Mhm.
And so it's not always going to be happening the way you might expect. But so long as, you know, she knows what you want at any time and you know that she's picking up what you want at any time, she is still going to be very useful for this. How are you, what specific exercises are you doing with Belle in order to kind of develop her cadaver dog abilities and tracking abilities? Is there any particular processes you're doing right now?
Well, the weather's been kind of crappy, so we haven't been able to really do as much training as I'd like to do. But we did do one with a dead animal, and she found it every time, but it's like towards the end she got kind of bored with it. And, you know, the very last time she was like not into it anymore.
Yeah, because she, you know, she can do it. She doesn't have to keep doing it to prove to you. It's pretty boring. So also she was showing you that you don't need to do that work again, that particular exercise. But, you know, then what you've got is a trail of a corpse that hasn't gone cold. Obviously, I feel that the less recently that thing went that way, then the more the dog is going to be using telepathy with you and psychic power. Because you're psychic yourself, you know, you may see an event with someone you're trying to find out what happened, you're in the place, you may actually be getting quite strong impressions of what happened to lead to that person being in that place or being removed from that place. She will be picking that up from you telepathically, and if you don't feel she is, just look at her full face and send the image to between her eyes, just like our third eye. Animals communicate that way a great deal, and she'll pick up the image and know what she's supposed to be looking for. And she will get psychic impressions to add to your psychic impressions. So you're really using her as a familiar, actually, with some of these situations.
Yeah.
Where, you know, she sees something and you're able to be so in harmony with her that you also see the same thing or you get strong feelings about it. I know with one of my dogs, I could always tell who was ringing the doorbell by looking at the dog. That would just give me a strong psychic impression. I go, Dave's on the doorstep or whatever. I would know right away who was on the doorstep. You know, and I wasn't really seeing an image. It was more like I knew in my heart or my gut when I looked at the dog, and that I'd say, okay, I'm using this dog as a familiar. This dog is right now being my familiar. It just makes you familiar with areas that maybe you wouldn't grasp quite so strongly without the animal. Excuse me. Do you have another question?
Well, along with that telepathic thing, because that's one thing I was really trying to work with her lately on too, but I got this telepathic flower essence, and I was wondering if that's going to help the connection to be stronger as I'm up there working.
Could you run the name of the essence by me? And the maker?
I got it from the Anaphora.
Oh, cool.
It's called telepathy, and it has like daffodil, delphinium, lavender, marsh marigold, sage, star tulip, and solanidine.
This is excellent.
Mount Shasta spring water.
That's excellent. You know, if you're able to put it in a spray bottle with some spring water, we could go into that at another time because I do a lot of work on flower essences. But you would spray it into both your auras when you want to do this. You would spray it, particularly focusing on the head, you know, you spray a mist because animals very often respond very well if you spray a flower essence into their aura. It's the most usual way of administering flower essences to an animal, but in this case, spraying it at your own third eye and basically allowing the mist to be around your head and perhaps go down to your heart area. It's definitely kind of spraying it at the top end of both your bodies is the most important, because here you are working through the upper chakras with receiving and sending information. It's, it's the third eye. To some degree, it's the heart. And in cases of being sort of very profoundly connected, it's sometimes your crown chakras are communicating with each other. They're also the throat chakra, which is communication. So it's the head area more than anything, and down to the heart. Then just a light spray. Then after 20 minutes, you might want to give you each another spray if you're still working. And what this does is it attunes you to each other so strongly that it's like you share visions. And this is going to work. This is going to be very helpful. The other thing Spirit wants to say, and this is, Bella understands what Spirit is trying to say right now, but this is coming from other guides than Bella that you work with, is that when you want to work this way, particularly, when you haven't done a lot of professional jobs like this, that you have to not think about it much. Mm-hmm. This is the hard part, because when you are in a situation like you're going to be in, until you're very familiar with it and you've got some successes under your belt, you can get performance anxiety. Mm-hmm. So you use the essence and you trust the essence. And I'll tell you another time how to clean the bottle and so on, to put it into the bottle. You trust the essence, and you trust your dog, and you trust yourself. And that's where your focus is. It's not on the possibility of success or failure.
Okay.
When you've got some successes under your belt, it's, you're not going to get performance anxiety very often, but that is the big crippler with doing something that's a little different. But you'll be fine. Trust yourself, trust your dog, trust the flower essence, trust the process. And there may be exercises you can do to prepare for that. I'll just ask Bella if there's anything she wants to add. Tell her I'm very excited about doing this. I know I came here to do this, to help you and to work with you. I feel that this is going to be a great adventure. She's very excited about going to Washington and doing this work that you're going to be doing in a few days' time.
So she'll be okay on the plane, because that's my other stress.
I'll try to be good. I see she's going to be sitting with you as a service dog in the cabin, right?
Yes.
Yeah, she's going to like that, because she likes I love being out with you. And, people always really like to see a dog in, that's actually sitting there, that most people, respond with feelings of love to a dog, and the dog gets that. I see her sitting next to you. You've got an aisle seat, which I guess you would have, and she sits there, and she's just really full of herself. She's really pleased, and she knows that this is very big for her as well as it's big for you. She knows why you're going there. She knows why you're going to Washington.
Okay.
She actually knows a lot about the job you're going to be doing, because she's been reading your mind, and it's uncanny how animals know so much more than people realise about how they know what's going on most of the time. You get problems when an animal doesn't know what's going on, but you've prepared for this. And she's looking forward to going on the plane, having all those people around her, and being off on an adventure. She feels very much like we do when we go off on an adventure and have new experiences. Mm-hmm. It reminds me of the first time I came to America, and It was all magic. It was all magic. It's kind of like that for her. It's her big adventure to start doing this work with you. So, like, don't be too attached to her performance. It is her first time on the job, so to speak. There will be many more, and you have to have a bit of relaxation about things. You have a lot of helpers. You will have a lot of helpers in that situation. Do you have another question?
No, I think that's it. I think my only other thing was this which is going to kind of tie into the whole thing when we talk about Dakota in another session, is if they're going to work well together doing this, if it's the right match. It feels like it's the right match.
Yeah, I see them working together with you, physically see that, but having the both of them and working together with the both of them, as you are a remote viewer, stroke psychic, finding missing people, often sad things have happened to them, and sometimes it's quite a while after the event. To actually get the two dogs and you working together, you can expect it to take some time, and that's fine, but they will work together. Bella is saying we have a destiny to work together. That's why I see them both pulling on leashes and they're sniffing out or finding someone or something when you're holding the leashes. So that's also symbolic. You know, you will work with both of them, and the three of you will work very well together. It's not the first life that you've done something like this. I do see a very snowy place and these two dogs with you all in a past life, and there's some pine trees, and there's a man who's been injured out in the forest, and the dogs find him. He's alive, but you used the dogs to find the man, someone of your team. You've been an explorer up north in a recent life, in the snow with the husky, sled dogs. And these dogs have been sled dogs, and they've been, they're very fit, very sharp senses, and they were finding the man who was injured by telepathy. And I do think this was a man they knew, that was someone that you were with in some way, in an expedition, and there's a lot of telepathy here where, they knew he was missing and knew you were worried. They picked up that bad things might have happened, and they could really tune in with his heart chakra and his heart energy, and they actually located him through the man's heart calling to them. So animals work on many levels. And the more we actually kind of see that, the more apparently miraculous the training is going to appear to be to other people. These people who have this uncanny ability with animals and do lots of things very successfully, get the animals to do lots of things, when they're doing it in the right way, they're having very multi-dimensional communications with these animals. And so it almost appears like magic, because it seems like most people can't get animals to do these things. And here we're not talking about those that would use force or anything like that. We're just talking about higher levels of communication that go through the heart and the telepathy, the third eye, pineal gland, and so on. There are people that, they get incredible harmony with animals and get results that other people don't get, and that's how they're getting them. It's by accessing more subtle levels of communication. So that's, you and the two dogs are a team for a lot of the work that you're going to be doing. And even when you're on the phone doing readings with somebody, they're often working in the reading with you, because animals find it very easy to access the astral plane.
So then there's not really much more I need to do with her before I even go on this trip, because I've been worried because of the weather. I haven't been able to really train with her that much. So you're saying there's, other than the telepathic work, there's nothing I really need to do with her before I go.
No, it's more a matter of in the remaining days, which is virtually hours, that you actually focus on being relaxed in the moment and trusting that everything's going to work, trusting your dog. That will kind of cement your union to go forward into the work. More important, much more important than doing specific exercises and bringing up the training. You know, you just have to accept that you have a dog that's green, like you say a horse is green when it hasn't been schooled or hasn't been schooled very much. You know, horses take many years to train, and dogs don't usually take so many years to train, but they take a while to train. So there's a greenness, and that's fine. You're going to do much better the more relaxed you are.
Okay. Okay. I think that's all the questions.
Okay. I'll just see if there's anything Belle wants to say to you. Well, I'm very happy. I'm very excited that you're getting this reading, helping us to move forward, and it's all going to be okay. And then I see a thumb going up. It's like Belle's putting her thumb up, even though technically a dog can't, but that's a symbol us seers often get, saying yes. Yes. It's good. It's how it's meant to be. You will learn a great deal on this trip about how you work, but this is your breakthrough moment in so many ways, because we will do this work. It's our breakthrough moment because this is the first of many trips to locate missing ones, you know, mostly humans, but there, you know, probably will be other animals, you know, like dogs that are missing, cats that are missing, and so on, that you will, over the years, be locating.
Okay, chills. So, good. That makes me, that does make me more relaxed, I do have to say. And that's kind of what I was just going to focus on the next 3 days was, you know, taking a nice bath and cleaning up the house and making sure she had a bath and, you know, kind of just focusing on preparing, I guess,